Hello everyone. Today we're going to be watching a video about divisibility. Now that's kind of a long word, but it really isn't as difficult as it sounds. Okay, so let's take a look at the divisibility rules. We're going to work with rules with two numbers today. The rules we're going to be working with are with numbers 2 and numbers 3. So we'll get these rules down and then we'll move forward in the second part of this video with newer, bigger numbers. Okay, what is divisibility first off? Let's review that. Okay, we say that a number is divisible by another number when it can be divided evenly by that number. So for example, 10 is divisible by 2 because 10 can be equally divided into two parts. I can take 10, I can divide it into two equal parts of 5 and 5. That means 10 is divisible by 2. There are a couple of rules so that you can tell if numbers are divisible by other numbers. And we're going to go over those today. So what I'd like you to do is go ahead and put this in your vocabulary section of your notebook. And be prepared to write the next section also in your vocabulary section. So go ahead and pause this video. Write this down. Okay. We're going to go ahead and talk about some of the rules for divisibility. Let me go ahead and get that out of the way. Okay, we're going to talk about some of the rules for divisibility. We say that a number is divisible, when is a number divisible by 2? Okay, the rule is right here. This is the part that I really need you to make sure that you get down. We say that a number is divisible by 2 if the digit in the ones place, that's in the very last section, is a 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. Here's some examples of numbers that have a digit in the ones place, 2, 8, 0, and 2. That means all of these numbers would be divisible by 2. Okay. Here are some non-examples. Numbers that have a digit in the ones place that are not one of these numbers. In other words, if they're odd numbers, they're definitely not divisible by 2. Okay, so let's take a look at that. If I had a calculator, grab my calculator here real quick. If I had a calculator and I wanted to divide 32 by 2, I would hit 32 divided by 2, and we would get it to equal 16. Okay, so we know that 32 divided by 2 will equal 16. Then I'm going to do the same with 48. 48 divided by 2 will equal 24. In other words, I can have two groups of 24. If I add those together, we'll have 48. That means 48 is divisible by 2. 50. Now we know that when we take 50 and divide it into two equal groups, we have 25. And the same with 1062. If you, on a calculator, if you go 1062 and divide it by 2, you end up with 531. Okay, now when you look at your calculator, you're going to notice that when I did that, I'm not sure if you can see that very clearly, but when I did it, 531 came up. Now, if I wanted to do the same with 97, if I put in here 97 divided by 2 equals, I would end up with 48.5. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it says 48.5. If you have a decimal point in your answer, then that means it's not able to be divided evenly by a whole number. You'll have leftovers. You can't have leftovers in order for it to be divisible. Okay, so I know that these numbers here are not divisible by 2. I cannot divide 15 into two equal parts. I would have one part with 7 and one part with 8. Those are not even. So the rule for dividing by 2 is if the number in the ones place, that's this number here. I'll show you that. This number here. If the number in the ones place is a 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8, then it can be divided by 2. Now let's go ahead and move on down to 3. When is a number divisible by 3? Here's the rule. Write this in your books. A number is divisible by 3 if the sum of its digits is divisible by 3. Now this is a little bit trickier, so listen carefully as I explain to you and write these examples down in your book. In the first example, the number is 321. Now remember what it said, if the sum of its digits, the sum is when we add it together, when we add these digits together, is that divisible by 3? Let's find out. If I take 3, 2, and 1 and I add them together, 3 plus 2 plus 1 equals 6. Is 6 divisible by 3? Can I take 6 and break it into 3 equal parts? Well, absolutely. I will get 2. 3 friends, 6 pieces of candy. Each friend will get 2 pieces. So that means that the number 321 is divisible by 3. Okay. What about the number 623? Let's go ahead and add those digits together. 623, if I have a 6 plus a 2 plus a 3, add those together, we'll get 11. If I have 11 pieces of candy and I want to break it between friends, will I be able to do so evenly? The answer is no. Okay, I would have, most of my friends would end up with 3 pieces of candy, but then I would have 2 pieces left over. Okay, so we'll have to figure out, if that doesn't work, then we know that 623 is not divisible by 3. So really we have 2 rules here that we dealt with today. Divisible by 2 and divisible by 3. Make sure that both of those rules are written in your book along with the examples I've given you. Now flip it over. Now flip your book over and go into the practice side, and here's your practice for tonight. Your practice is, which one of the following numbers are divisible by 2? Which ones are divisible by 3? I have a whole list of numbers here, and I want you to go through and tell me which ones are divisible by 2 and which ones are divisible by 3. You can make a T-chart if you'd like. You can make a T-chart, looks like this. These numbers are divisible by 2, these numbers are divisible by 3. Okay? Some of them might not be divisible by either 2 or 3. You'll have to figure that one out. If you have any questions, be sure to bring those in with you tomorrow in class. Talk to you tomorrow. Have a great night.